Welcome back, everybody, and thanks again for being with us on KXAN News at 4. So last week, we all remember we had snow here in Central Texas. But later this week, much warmer temperatures are returning. And Chief Meteorologist Nick Bannin has his eye on next Monday for a reason.
Yeah, so the warmth begins tomorrow, but next Monday could bring a very specific landmark for us, possibly our first 80-degree day of 2025.
Wow.
How about that? That's topsy-turvy couple of weeks for us, from the 30s to the 80s. Here's where we've had high temperatures so far this month. The warmest day was back on January 5th with a high of 75. And of course, all these blue boxes have indicated much colder highs since then. But look at next Monday's highs. Most of Central Texas getting into the 80s. Morning clouds very quickly give way to a lot of sunshine, and a southerly breeze should help get us there. Is this normal? Well, yeah. Average first 80-degree day in Austin at Camp Mabry, when you look at the averages, the 30-year average from 1991 to 2020 is actually January 31st. So our first 80-degree day of the year coming next Monday would technically be 3 days later than average. When was our last 80-degree day in Austin? Well, it wasn't too long ago. December 30th of 2024, we had a high of 89. So we'll go about a little over a month in between the end of the 80s and the beginning again of 80s. What about the first 80-degree days of the last few years? Well, 2024 had a very late first 80-degree day. We had to wait all the way through February 20th for the first 80-degree day. Very early the year before that, in 2023, second day of the year, we were in the 80s. January 19th of 2022, that was a little early. Right on average, just about there in 2021, and a little early there in 2020. So 4 out of the last 5 years have had 80s in January. This year, we'll be waiting until February, though. We're not there yet, although the warmth has started to arrive here today. That has helped to usher in all these low clouds and areas of fog as the warm air rides over the top of the cold ground and the cold air just above the surface of the ground. That helps to generate the fog, and that's why it's so foggy here today. But the fog has been lifting as temperatures have been climbing. Still watching this swirl in the atmosphere right over the Four Corners region, helping to generate all the moisture, the clouds, and eventually the rain and storms that are moving into Central Texas. You can see, yes, we've got scattered light showers around, but more of us are wet than where you see the green, because we have all the drizzle and the fog and the mist down on the ground, making it just constantly damp, although you probably have noticed that already. There's actually a little more rain on the way in the near term from the south and west of us. And then as we take it into the evening, we think the rain coverage starts to grow, especially along and west of 35 here at 9. Nothing too stormy until just before midnight, but those storms will start to focus their attention in the hill country at first. This is midnight, still just showery in the metro. And then those storms start to approach the Austin metro right as we get near to 6 or 7 in the morning. Right in time for that morning commute and drop off at school. Storms, downpours around, and a low severe weather risk too. This rain then moves east and then pulls out of our eastern counties by midday, and then drier weather follows. So it really is a morning storm situation for most of us, although some of you in the hill country may get storms as early as just before midnight. So evening drizzle and showers and fog gives way to overnight and morning storms. Overnight lows barely dropping into the upper 50s, and that would likely happen just after the rain has really started to push through with a cold front before we warm back up to 70 in the afternoon tomorrow. Most of the wet weather, about 90% of it, is in the morning. There's just a tiny rain chance in our eastern counties for the first hour of the afternoon, and then the sun eventually comes out. But with a cold front, the wind is going to change direction from the south to the northwest, and then eventually the north, 10 to 15 miles per hour here tomorrow. So looking at those rain chances, really starting to pick up late tonight, mostly for the hill country. And then the wettest weather for the rest of us is going to be focused in the first couple of hours before the sun is up, and then the couple hours after the sun is up. And then rain chances really drop by late morning with drier weather for the afternoon. But there is a low severe weather risk late tonight It's a 1 out of 5 for areas near and west of 35. And then for the rest of Thursday morning, it's also a 1 out of 5 for the rest of the metro and our eastern counties to account for that cluster of storms moving through. Very low risk for large hail or damaging winds, and a very tiny but not zero threat for a tornado. Still on track for 1/2 inch to 2 inches of rain here through about midday tomorrow. There could be some localized higher amounts. We're thinking that the vast majority of this rain is going to soak up real nice in the mostly dry soils that we have, despite the drizzly damp weather we've had lately. Not a lot of rain coming after tomorrow. Friday sunshine 70, sunny Saturday 73, 77 and sunny on Sunday. There's that 80 for Monday, with some more clouds coming in, and some morning drizzle Tuesday and Wednesday knocks temperatures down into the mid-70s.